Even former Director of National Intelligence, Director James Clapper, admits that the FBI's actions against the Trump presidential campaign do, in fact, meet the definition of spying. It took him a while to come to that conclusion. Perhaps Ray will be next in line to do so. Joining us tonight, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Tom, you have had some of the busiest years of your career, I know. They're not letting up, are they? Tomorrow, the Judiciary Committee in the House prepares for a contempt vote against William Barr, the Attorney General, a contempt of Congress. This is on its face madness and mindless. Your thoughts?
Well, the Attorney General has been remarkably transparent with the Mueller report, and so he's going to be found in contempt of Congress by the House over an argument over whether documents that he's legally prohibited from giving them should be released anyway, contrary to federal law, something that could put him in jail and others in jail if they were released inappropriately. It shows you this is just another abuse of power in a long series of abuses of power by the Democrats that began during the Obama administration, continued through the Mueller FBI operation, and now the baton has been passed to Jerry Nadler at the DOJ to continue to abuse power to harass President Trump. And of course, you know, it's a nice distraction from the fact that the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic Party apparatus, has been caught using donor dollars to collude with the Russian intelligence to attack a domestic political opponent.
But that attention they can't escape ultimately.
The lawmen can't be distracted. I believe that ought to be the case.
And in this instance, too, with Nadler, where should the White House go with this? Where should the Attorney General go with this? The logical first impression, it seems to me, is go to court and end this nonsense.
You know, typically you go to court over document fights and subpoena fights, whether the subpoenas are abusive or not. You can seek protection from the court from having to accede to them. Or if there are documents you want to withheld under court protection, you can make the argument to the court. And I think there's a strong argument that can't be overcome without Congress literally changing the law to withhold grand jury material. You know, we always want to see grand jury material at Judicial Watch under the Freedom of Information Act, but we can't because the law doesn't allow us to do it. And you got to change the law to fix it, if indeed it needs to be fixed in this regard. But so, you know, it's a fundamental distraction from the fact, for instance, as you point out at the top of this segment, the FBI has no leadership.
It's stunning to watch and to listen to that.
That's the contempt issue there. I mean, the FBI at the same time, right now, that FBI director is running an agency who thinks no text messages of its own should be subject to the Freedom of Information Act, protecting the same gang that tried to overthrow the president through an illegal coup.
So the president, again, being harassed by the Judiciary Committee, and the radical Dems that make up now the Democratic Party, what was the Democratic Party, they are to. What should the White House do? They're saying no, and it's so refreshing to hear the Attorney General, to hear the White House counsel say no, the President to say no. But where and how is this resolved in your judgment? The most likely result?
Well, in a sensible world, there'd be a negotiation that would allow.
We can rule that one out.
But what would happen is that Congress would have to authorize litigation against the Justice Department or against the Attorney General to force compliance, and that litigation takes years. The Fast and Furious litigation, it only resulted in documents being produced to Congress. For instance, that was the contempt litigation of Eric Holder. After Judicial Watch filed a FOIA lawsuit to get the documents separately. It took, and they're still fighting in the Fast and Furious litigation.
So what you're saying is that we have reached a point in this republic where a clearly unlawful pursuit of a subpoena against the Attorney General of the United States results in years of litigation without resolution until every issue simply dissipates with time and becomes settled dust in history.
It's the attack strategy to harass And it's not about the Attorney General, and he's sophisticated to know this isn't about him. It's about trying to destroy President Trump, and through an assault on his Attorney General for upholding the rule of law. He released a massive amount of information. You know, I've reviewed the document. I've reviewed the report.
Tom, I'm asking, where does it end? There's so much legal mumbo jumbo around this thing. It's infuriating.
As long as President Trump is president, his opposition will use every tool and misuse every tool available to it to make his life miserable.
Well, I can't imagine this president staying on defense. My feeling is he will soon go on the offense. Thank you so much, Tom, as always. Tom Fitton, Judicial Watch. Thank you, sir.